After Vegeta sacrificed his life for Goku, a majestic being appeared as a result of the fusion between Whis and Weirus. Below, Goku was on his knees, holding his chest, the pain tearing through his heart because of the energy the Queen had planted inside him. Weirus raised his gaze directly toward the Supreme Queen. Then he spoke in a voice devoid of emotion. "From this moment, do not call me your son. You chose the path of chaos, and I renounce you." The Supreme Queen smiled, carrying no regret at all. "Pitiful Whis, you also betrayed your family. You let your brothers fall, and then you chose to stand beside Goku, who defends Zama. The Dragon Balls that Zama created, I see them as destruction of balance. How many people wished for authority from nothing, power without cruelty, and revenge without effort? This is what I have been fighting since the beginning." At that moment, Goku intervened. He was in pain, but he shouted, "We are also against destruction, but you imprisoned Zama inside the Dragon Balls for millions of years, and you knew that this would create the curse because of the wishes. Yet you remained silent, because all that matters to you is your children." Weirus interrupted and said, "My mother did not care about us, Goku. She only pretends to defend in order to protect her position, nothing more. And now, I will take it from you by force." Weirus slowly raised his hand. Everyone expected him to attack her, but his hand did not move toward her. It moved toward Goku. From his palm burst a pure energy, calm white energy like the light of dawn. It rushed toward Goku and surrounded his entire body. At first, his body trembled. Then the pain began to fade. His heart, which had been convulsing, started returning to a steady rhythm. The fused being spoke, "Goku, rise. You are fine now, but leave this battle to me for now. I will finish this quickly." Goku was stunned by what was happening, and suddenly he heard a distant voice coming from a place outside this dimension. It was Zalama's voice. "Goku, feel my power." Goku's eyes widened. Zalama? Is that you?" "Yes, I have returned. Rise now, Goku, and let us fuse." Goku's eyes widened even more. "Fusion?" Zalama's voice became more serious. "This woman is not what you think. She is hiding a great power inside her ring, a power that cannot be stopped easily. The Potara cannot withstand the fusion of two beings who possess the power of the Super Dragon Balls. Therefore, sense my power, and the fusion will occur after gathering the necessary energy." Goku understood what he had to do and began gathering energy. Far away from him, in another dimension, Zalama was gradually sending his power, hidden waves of ancient energy slipping toward him. Near Zalama, the friends who were watching the scene stood frozen between shock and fear. One of them whispered, "If Zalama intends to fuse, that means what that queen is hiding is unimaginable." Another said with concern, "My father lost a lot when he fell into the trap, so it is difficult to predict what she is hiding." At that moment, the Supreme Queen shook her head and looked toward Goku, who had begun gathering energy. She said in a cold voice, "I understand now. There are things happening behind my back, but I certainly will not allow them to continue." Suddenly, before she could move, Weirus disappeared and appeared behind her. A speed she could not perceive. She did not feel it. She could not even turn around. A cold voice reached her ear. "Where do you think you're going? Are you trying to continue your schemes?" Her anger exploded instantly, and she lunged at him with a direct attack. But with only one hand, he stopped her without any effort. Then he said, "Your era is over, traitor. Your power is no longer anything in this existence. The anger in her eyes ignited like fire, and she rushed at him with a barrage of attacks, punches, strikes, but every strike he blocked it easily, as if she were fighting a wall of absolute power. Weirus's voice became heavier. You will now taste the flavor of pain, the pain that all our friends lived through. Then he unleashed heavy attacks on her, crushing her from every direction. The blows pushed her violently until she crashed into the ground. Goku's aura was growing stronger, and the energy above him was gradually increasing as he said, I don't know what may result from my fusion with you, Zama, but I understand your determination to take revenge for yourself and for everyone. At that moment, the queen looked directly at Whis and said to herself, You have taken a forbidden path, Whis. Fusion with Beerus is a betrayal of our laws, but you are not my main concern right now. In the next moment, she disappeared. Just a single flash, then she suddenly appeared near Goku, who was still gathering energy. Her hand lunged toward him with deadly speed. But before she could reach him, Weirus appeared in front of her and intercepted the attack with a crushing, swift counter. He looked at her coldly and said, You are starting to get on my nerves. You are still determined to stop Goku? Fine. I will hasten your end. Weirus then turned toward Goku and created a barrier around him, saying, Goku, focus on restoring your full strength. Goku looked at him, his eyes slightly shocked. I have never seen Weirus this serious before. What kind of power has he obtained? Weirus slowly raised his hands. Between his palms, a strange energy formed. He looked at it steadily and said with deadly calm, Resist this, if you can. And in an instant, he closed his hands. The energy exploded around her, an energy cage sealing her from all directions. Her body froze in the air. She could not move. The energy began pressing on her, piercing her, tearing every cell in her body slowly. The pain was unbearable. Long moments passed until her body crashed violently onto the ground, almost motionless. At that moment, Weirus stepped forward slowly. He stood there, his silent aura filling the space. He looked at her with a cold gaze and then said, You could have admitted your mistake. After everyone learned the truth of your betrayal, you could have restored balance. But you chose rebellion. And now, your fate will be nothing but humiliation and the end. The queen's body lay stretched on the ground. Blood slowly began spreading around her. But suddenly, a smile appeared on her face. She said with unexpected calm, Thank you, Whis, because you confirmed to me that the decision I made is the right one. And then her ring began to glow. A strange energy emerged from it. The queen began to laugh, but her laughter gradually turned into a scream, a terrifying scream. The energy in the ring exploded even more. The trembling intensified until the light swallowed everything. Then the light began to fade gradually until a new form appeared, a shining figure, a power that had not existed moments before, a power without explanation. Weirus became more serious, but the one who truly froze was Zama. Impossible! At that moment, the flow of energy to Goku suddenly stopped. Goku said with concern, Zalama, what was that? Zalama replied angrily and in shock, Damn it, she did it before the expected time. She awakened the curse that was inside the ring. His power was sealed inside that ring, and now she has used all of it. She is now as if she has fused with the Grand Priest, but mixed with the curse of the Dragon Balls. Goku's eyes widened. What? Meanwhile, the queen looked at her hands, feeling the new power flowing through her veins. Weirus looked at her with anger and said, "Well, it seems your determination was truly stubborn. You are still searching for any hope to survive." A massive golden aura exploded around him. Energy began gathering in his palm at a terrifying speed. "Sorry, but this is not the time to show off decorations." And in an instant, he launched the attack. A massive explosion of energy swept across the area. But in the middle of that storm, the queen raised only one hand, and suddenly the attack stopped, as if it had struck an invisible wall. The golden energy began to be pulled toward her hand. It faded away until it completely disappeared, as if it had never existed at all. A heavy silence fell over everyone. Goku shouted, "Whis, stop! This has become extremely dangerous." He breathed sharply. She has manifested the curse again, but this time with a power far greater than you can imagine. Whis was slightly shocked, but after a moment, he clenched his fists. His aura ignited again. "Even if that is the case, I will not allow this to continue." Weirus rushed forward with a swift attack, a direct punch toward the queen's face. But this time, she did not move. She did not block it, as if she were an unmoving rock. Confusion appeared on Weirus's face for the first time, but she gave him no chance. She grabbed his arm with enormous force and squeezed it until he began to feel a strange sting. Veins began spreading through his arm, just as it happened to Goku before when he was affected by the curse. Weirus screamed in intense pain while she smiled mockingly. "Isn't it beautiful to exchange sensations? Now it's time for my game." Weirus stood stiffly, trying to control his arm. "Damn it! What happened to me? I can't move my arm." The queen stepped forward slowly, her eyes shining with madness and domination. "Well, the curse I once feared for the balance is now flowing through my veins." From afar, Goku shouted, "Run, Whis! This woman, you don't understand how dangerous she truly is." But Weirus shouted with an unshakable confidence, "I will not retreat, no matter what happens. Vados' sacrifice will be not in vain. This traitor controlled Vegeta, and because of that, my sister died." The queen smiled and whispered coldly, "I see you are in great pain, Whis. Very well. Let me end your pain quickly." Then, suddenly, in a swift movement, she rushed toward Weirus at a speed beyond anything anyone could imagine. Her long claws pierced his body with force. Weirus lost control, and that was where the disaster happened. She did not give him even a few seconds. She raised her hands and said, "Your game is over." Then she released a very bright wave of luminous energy, and it was over. Everyone stood stunned. Goku lost his focus. As for Zama, he was furious and said, "Damn it, a lot more energy still needs to be injected for the fusion to occur." The friends stood in shock, sadness and worry filling their faces. One of them said, "Zama does not want to intervene until the fusion happens safely, but who will buy him the time?" Suddenly, they heard a voice full of determination. The angels, who had been silently watching the entire time, had collapsed on the ground. But one of them said, "My lord, we will take care of this. Even if our power is not enough, we will buy time for Goku so that he can complete the fusion." Everyone was shocked, astonishment clear on their faces. Zama approached them slowly. Then one of them continued boldly, "We know that we committed a sin and stood to help our mother who chose to betray you. But now, please forgive that. We are ready to sacrifice ourselves for the sake of balance." When Zama heard these words, he raised his hand and a heavy silence fell, as if time itself had stopped for a moment. Then he released an energy that covered everyone. It was a healing energy. After a moment, he said in a calm but firm voice, "Then go. There is no time for apologies now." In the other dimension, Whis and Beerus had completely separated from their fusion. Goku felt both anger and shock, But at that moment, Zalama's voice surprised him again. "Focus, Goku. Do not let what is happening around you distract you. Half of my remaining power must be injected into you now." Goku tried to steady himself, focusing all his awareness on the power flowing toward him. Meanwhile, the Supreme Queen approached Whis, her face completely expressionless. Whis's body was more affected because he had been the one controlling the fusion. He looked at the Queen and said in a broken voice, "Well, I admit it. I was helpless against your schemes and deception. Do now whatever you wish with me. Do not hesitate to finish me, because I can no longer bear to witness your cruelty." The Queen was looking at him with a mysterious gaze. Then she raised her hand. Energy began gathering in her palm, a dense light slowly swelling. Whis was still lying on the ground. He did not move. He did not resist. He simply waited for his fate. Weirus had collapsed in the distance, unable to stand. As for Goku, all his focus was fixed on the energy flowing toward him from Zalama, while he said to himself, "Hurry, come on, Zalama." The Queen's energy reached its peak. Then she released it. An explosion of light surged toward Whis. The attack struck his body directly. Then the light began to fade, and as soon as it disappeared, the greatest shock appeared. Whis had not died. On the contrary, he had regained his strength. The Queen looked at him calmly. "My target is not you, Whis. If you had been my target, you would have been finished from the beginning." Whis was stunned. The words echoed in his mind, but the Queen began moving forward. Her destination was clear: Goku. She walked toward him with steady steps. Then, suddenly, Weirus stood in front of her. His body was exhausted, but he forced himself to stand. "Stay away from him. I will not allow you to interfere." She remained silent for a moment, then said, "What you are doing now will change nothing. If you wish to live, step aside. No, from the very beginning, Goku has been striving for balance. All the kings of destruction like me have died, so at the very least, I will do something good, even if it is only once in my life." The Queen did not say a word. She simply raised her finger. In the next moment, a strike. Invisible energies hit Weirus's body. A series of terrifyingly fast blows began striking him from every direction. "I hope now that you will step aside." But Weirus raised his head with difficulty. "Never. I am here until death." In the background, Goku still had his eyes closed, but his face was tense with anger. He murmured in a low voice, "Forgive me, Weirus. Come on, Zalama. Hurry." The Queen raised her hand again. This time, the attack was far stronger. His body was damaged even more, until he lay stretched on the ground, motionless, unconscious. The Queen slowly raised her head, and no one remained standing between her and Goku. "Well, I see that you are busy reaching some mysterious goal, but I am sorry, because I cannot tolerate waiting." She released a massive beam of energy, and the barrier that had been surrounding Goku shattered like glass. Even so, Goku remained still. His eyes were closed, and his concentration did not waver. In the background, Whis watched the scene in shock. His body could not move, and he whispered helplessly to himself, What should I do now?" Meanwhile, the Queen walked toward Goku step by step. Then she raised her hand toward him and said, "It is disappointing that your end will be like this, without any surprises, so I will finish it now." Suddenly, the place exploded with enormous energy, a powerful explosion, but not from her. The Queen stopped for a moment as the dust cleared. The angels finally appeared. They were the ones who had done it. They stood in a single line, their eyes serious. One of them stepped forward and said, "We have come to help Goku restore life to everyone who perished because of you." The Queen looked at them with cold eyes. Completely devoid of expression, she did not answer them. She simply looked. Suddenly, the angels all raised their staffs at the same time. Then they unleashed their attack all at once. Destruction swept across the area. But in the middle of it all, the queen stood there. She did not move. She was not affected. The energy seemed as if it had not touched her at all, as if the light itself did not dare to swallow her. The angels continued shouting while releasing all their power until their strength began to run out. Their breathing became heavy and their bodies trembled from exhaustion. The queen shook her head, then said mockingly, "Are you finished now? Good. Then let me finish my work, little ones." She did not attack them, but she turned toward Goku once again. She raised her hand. An enormous energy began charging in her palm. The light began to grow. As for Goku, his eyes were still closed. The trembling began, yet Goku's concentration had reached such a level that he seemed completely detached from the entire world. The queen looked at him and said, "Well then, this is your end." Suddenly, a massive explosion of light swept across the entire place. The sphere of energy began to be absorbed into his body. Light rushed toward him from every direction, as if the entire universe were being pulled into a single point, until he became like a shining star. The light became so bright that eyes could no longer look at it. Then, at the heart of that light, the awaited moment occurred. The fusion was finally completed. A new form appeared, a shining form, majestic, sacred, as if its mere existence imposed awe upon the entire place. Goku was no longer alone. At that moment, Zama disappeared from the dimension where he had been. The friends who were watching the scene through the image-transmitting sphere froze in their places. The light coming from this new form was so powerful that it illuminated even the dimension where they were standing. The Supreme Queen looked at Goku's new fused form. The expression on her face was unreadable. No fear, no anger, and no clear surprise. The fused Goku looked toward her. Then he spoke. His voice was deep, calm. "You have been moving in the darkness for a long time, but now the light has finally arrived.